Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to be here to talk about our journey of customer experience at Citrix. I've been at Citrix for 6 years, and Citrix is an interesting place. It's a B2B environment. We're selling to CIOs and to business buyers, but we also were really concerned about the experience of our end users. When CIOs are pushing out technology, we want to make sure that they've got a great experience. And our sweet spot is helping end users have a productive experience so that they can work from anywhere on any device. And if we're going to win in that space, to be focused on the experience that those end users are having is really, really critical. So I hope today I can share with you some of the lessons that we've learned along our journey as we've started to make this investment. So why is customer experience and innovating your customer experience critical? Well, I really believe that we're in the age of the customer. You know, it's a time when the customer is so empowered and they are making buying decisions and choices like never before. I like this simple model from Forrester where they illustrate the evolution of the ages, and they talk about how we most recently came from the information age, and now we're really in the age of the customer, the consumer, where they're making choices not just based on technology and features, but they're making choices and buying decisions based on the experience that you are delivering. The other interesting trend that we're seeing is that businesses are starting to catch on that this is important. This is critical to their business. The experience will determine adoption. It will determine loyalty. It will determine retention. And it's ultimately going to impact the bottom line of your company, and it's going to impact the long-term success. So it isn't something you can afford to ignore. But what's fascinating is if you talk to analysts about how many companies actually have strategies around customer experience, fewer than 50% have an articulated customer experience strategy. And what's even worse is that if you look at the companies that do have strategies around customer experience, most believe that they're not very effective. So there's a disconnect here between what we're seeing and how we're actually behaving. In addition, there are compounding factors, like how we tend to operate in large organizations. In large organizations, we tend not to be conducive and let people behave in ways that are innovative. We tend to be really focused on execution and people starting a project and getting to the end of that project as quickly as possible, worried about scope, time, budget. These, of course, are very important factors, but if you're going to focus on innovation and creating a new experience for your customers, these can't be the only things that you embody. So I really believe all hope is not lost, that we do have an opportunity to turn this around. And I wanted to share 3 ideas with you. And these 3 ideas all resonate around one idea, and that idea is culture. I really believe if we can impact how people think, behave, and work and the mindset that they hold about the customer, then we truly have an opportunity to stay innovative and stay forward-looking when it comes to the experiences that we're delivering. So let me talk about these 3 things. The first one is creating a culture of value. This is where you've got to start. Your company, your organization needs to care about customer experience. They need to talk about it. They need to make it a value. It's great if you have a CIO who sits in a chair and tells people to innovate and create great experiences. That's a good starting point, that it's part of the messaging, but it's certainly not enough. People don't know what to do with just that message alone. So at Citrix, we've taken a lot of innovation from looking at the consumer space, and we draw inspiration from companies like these that are actually trying to differentiate with customer experience. And none of these are perfect, and because it's a hard job. If it was really easy, everyone would be doing it. But these companies have a few things in common. One of the things that they have in common is they don't just focus on the technology they deliver or the product or service they deliver. They're looking at customer experience as a whole ecosystem of events. They're looking at every single touch point that a customer has, and they're trying to differentiate at each of those touch points. And this is what you've got to do if you want to succeed with customer experience. And underneath, behind the scenes in your company, it means there are a whole variety of different divisions, groups, et cetera, that are delivering that experience, but it needs to be seamless to the customer. They shouldn't care. So the customers, the companies that are going to win have this mindset and this focus. And part of what you need to do next, if you adopt that mindset and focus, is you've got to rally the troops. If this touches every part of the business, then every single employee in your company needs to get that experience is important. They need to understand the role that they play when it comes to experience. And you need to give them a common language that they can understand and that people can rally around. So 5 years ago at Citrix, for example, we created a set of design principles that we wanted to use to articulate how we valued customer experience and what was important to us. And 5 years later, these still stand the test of time. And we expect every single employee, whether they work in HR, finance, sales, marketing, product, to understand these principles and understand how they relate to their job. And it's really easy to do one or two of these things at any point in time, but to focus on all of these things is really hard. But you've got to set the bar high. It's what's required today. So more than value of customer experience, the second thing I want to talk about is a culture of empathy. You really, truly need to understand your customers. And we've embraced the concept of design thinking, which has become very popular. And sometimes people will make the mistake of thinking design thinking is just about the aesthetics of design. It's really a mode of problem solving by having the customer in mind, by understanding the customer's needs intimately and closely. And it starts with a basic question of who is my customer? And it sounds easy and obvious, but you'd be amazed how many people don't truly understand exactly who their customer is. I'll give you an example in my world. We have a lot of customers. So your traditional customer who may be buying the product, a CIO, then we've got the end users who are using the product, who I also consider a customer of ours. We have a huge partner ecosystem. We need to create great experiences for our partners. They're very much a part of our success. And a last category of customers that we consider are our employees. You know, many people overlook the experiences that they are delivering within their own company. And if you really are going to authentically talk about customer experience, you need to look at the experiences that you're delivering in-house. This is really important, whether it's how you use your own products yourself or any other services or touch points that you're delivering. For us, we look at everything from how we interview candidates, how we onboard them, how they're able to do their work, the tools and services we give them, all the way through when someone is leaving the organization. So you need to understand who your customer is. And once you have that understanding, it's imperative that you spend time with your customer. You know, it's great to do focus groups and interviews and surveys, but there's nothing like going out in the field and spending a day with your customers, truly walking a mile in their shoes and understanding where you're doing really well and succeeding for them, understanding where some of the pain points are, and even more importantly, where are those unmet needs? Where are those opportunities where you can jump in and solve a problem that no one else is solving? So a good example for us, we're doing a lot of work in the mobile space. How do we help people in corporate environments be really, really productive on any device in any location? So we do a lot of research where we start with people at the breakfast table. We want to understand what device are they using first thing in the morning? What kind of tasks are they trying to complete? We follow them on their work commute. What's that experience like? What's important to them in that kind of context? And then when we get to the office, what are the things that they're doing at that point? And this helped inform us and helped us understand the critical tasks by device and by platform. We would have been purely guessing had we not done this kind of research. Once we do this kind of research, we like to take it back and do journey mapping. And this is a sample journey map of one of our products where we're looking at the first time experience. So mapping out from welcome through getting started through initial use. Where are those opportunities where we're doing really well? Where are we offering delight to our customers? And how can we do more of that? And where are the pain points? And where are we measuring the experience along the way? It's really important to step back and map this out. And this is a really great tool to help people understand the experience across the board. And you can go granular in a first-time experience, or you can step all the way back and say, what's an experience like for someone at Citrix from the very first time they hear our name through renewal and adding more products? These kind of journey maps are also really helpful for formulating ideas. You know, brainstorming and going broad. Again, it can't always just be about solving the next known problem. That's when you fall into the trap of just having small additive features to your product and you miss the opportunity for breakthrough innovation. You need to go broad and explore a whole variety of options and then hone in. We spend a lot of time prototyping. You know, paper is our favorite tool of choice when we have these great ideas, sketching them out. We have a cardboard iPad that's one of our favorite tools to put concepts in and get ideas and feedback, quickly iterate. And in some cases, again, it's not a technology that you're evolving. We recently were looking at our conference experience and what's it like for a customer from the moment they register for that conference to showing up on site and getting their badge and going to a session and the expo. So you're mapping out processes that customers have at your marketing events, in a support situation. You really want to look at all those touch points. And then, again, iterating your concepts, and you know, some will stick to the wall and some won't. And the ones that you decide you do want to take to market, that you build out and you iterate them, and this is where you do beta or more formal testing. But the spirit of this, again, going back to customer empathy, is it's continuous customer feedback. It's not just engaging your customers at the start of a project and understanding what's important to them and then saying, see you later. It's constantly engaging them in the process. And that means it's a constant flow of iteration. Doing these small little tests, always testing and learning, testing and learning. And this is going to result in your best experience. And not looking to your customers to validate your ideas, but looking at your customers to expose the weaknesses in your ideas, to make your ideas better and stronger. This is really a core part of the culture that you need to ingrain in people. And it's hard when they're so focused on execution. To do one more iteration, maybe take a couple more days, maybe take a couple more weeks, but it's worth it. Because if you don't deliver the right experience, why bother? So over the past 5 years, we've made some really great transformations at Citrix. When I joined 5 years ago, most of the UI looked like this, not particularly inspiring. I mean, these are things that people had to use rather than wanting to use. And today, we've got a whole host of mobile and web experiences that are really great, seamless across devices, and you know, people want to use as opposed to feeling like they have to use them. But it's not just the products and services that we've improved. Brand has been something that we focused on. When I first joined Citrix, our brand was radically simple computing. That sounds like something a robot would say. It's not very aspirational. And moving it to talking about people and how we empower people and how we can make their lives better. So thanks to design thinking and understanding our customers, we've changed our messaging. We're constantly focused on our website, you know, a huge touch point, millions of visitors. How do we make that sticky for people? How do we make sure they're getting the right information at the right time? We've heard a lot about support over the course of today. Huge opportunity. Most support experiences are just pathetic. The bar is really, really low. And it's a huge opportunity to delight people with a great support experience and to solve their problem quickly and easily. You get a lot of trust and loyalty by doing that. And we've invested in our employees. Just a couple months ago, we launched a brand new intranet, which, you know, a lot of companies is something that would fall at the bottom of the list constantly. But we recognized empowering our employees, giving them a great experience, giving them the information they needed in the right context, and making it easy and mobile and responsive design was key. And they had the right to a great experience as well. So the last principle is a culture of continuous improvement. And I touched on this a little bit when I talked about constantly getting customer feedback as you're iterating your product or service. But that's not it alone. You know, a customer experience, an evolving customer experience is not a project. It's not something with a start, end, and an end date. It's something that you need to constantly evolve and invest in. You need to look at where you are at any point in time and say, what's the next step? How can we get better? How can we get stronger? And be honest with yourself on where you are in that cycle. It's really important to measure yourself as well, to say, are we getting better? Are we improving? So we do this with Net Promoter Score. There are lots of other great customer sat scores that people are using, but holding yourself accountable and really being able to measure and see that you are getting better. Of course, instrumentation, the more you can measure things and understand how people are truly using your product or your website or number of people coming to your events, this is great data to measure yourself against as well. And lastly, we've taken it a step further, and this is our leadership blueprint at Citrix. These are the things that every single employee, 9 things that they're held against and they have to measure themselves against. And we've 2 new ones that really are helping our customer experience initiative. Innovation, which a lot of companies have, but secondly, design-driven, which calls out the focus on customer experience. We're always constantly talking about our success when it comes to design and when it comes to changing the experience and highlighting this, and having our CEO talk about it, highlight it on our internet, making it a celebration so people understand this isn't just a fad, it's something critical. You'll see lots of that. And then lastly, it's the community. So it's events like these, whether I'm sharing my story in a rapid-fire fashion like I am today, or if it's hearing from you and understanding the products or services or what you're doing in your business and how maybe I can adopt some of that. We've got a really great community when it comes to customer success that we can leverage. So in summary, I really believe that we have a huge opportunity here, and the key thing to set us down the right path is culture. And if we can focus on a culture of value and empathy and continuous improvement, we'll create customers that are delighted, happy, and want to stick with us long term. So thank you.